This, folks, is my 2007 Land Rover Discovery 3. This car, as you know, is fitted with air suspension, which is problematic on them. In the lifetime of this vehicle, which has only done 77,000 miles, it's had 2 sets of front wheel bearings that do 35,000 miles per bearing, which is garbage. It's had all the front wishbones replaced, 2 rear wishbones uppers replaced, 2 handbrake modules and 2 air suspension compressors. The second of which I purchased a Chinese one because it's half the price of the new one. Anyway, it's failed again in just over a year, but this time what's happened is it's snapped the connecting rod in the compressor. So the compressor still runs and the controls for the compressor still run. So as a new compressor is kicking on for £400 for one of these vehicles, which is a rip-off because it's a garbage piece of construction, I have purchased a Wabco compressor from a BMW X5 and I haven't mounted it yet, it's still to be completed. This is a proof of concept to see if it would operate, and it actually does. So there's enough space in here to mount this. The rubber mounts are there. I'm going to rejig the mount, that'll be in another video, and this will get mounted, bolted in here and here with an additional frame using the isoelastic mounts. So what we've done is brought an electricity supply and using the relay to piggyback off the original compressor. The airline on this is 4mm, and I bought a length of 4mm airline and I've run it across the bulkhead and down onto the chassis and along the side of the vehicle. Now that terminates underneath where I have keyed in to the original suspension and brought the line back here. Now I already had this in because what I had here was a Schrader valve so that I could top my suspension up from external means, which worked. Anyway, under this cap is just a tyre valve. Can't actually get off at the moment. So that's my line back from that Wabco compressor in the spare battery box. Okay, I'll show you the wiring. So I've picked up my power supply off the battery, piggybacked it. I have a 30 amp fuse and 30 amp or 6mm cable to carry the current. The original air compressor relay is here, and that's actually an aftermarket one because that came with a new compressor. I don't like doing this, I like proper connections, but I reckoned it was less intrusive just to piggyback the line off the compressor. No, a bit horrible, but I'll fix that later. The problem is this is fed with a constant live and the relay closes by shutting off, by shutting the earth to create the circuit. So if you take it off the live side, it's constantly live, so it's no use to you. So what I've done is I've taken it off the actual compressor feed, which doesn't look very nice, but it works. And let's say proof of concept, I've got to finish this. So what we've got is a bit of free advertising there. So when you the editing isn't done. When you started this thing up, you got the yellow suspension light, and the compressor would run, but the suspension wouldn't lift. Now there it goes, on already, no suspension light. Got this compressor running, feeding air back to the tank. If I close the doors, suspension will run. $77,000 miles. This car drives like it's done 200,000 miles. Don't let anybody tell you that these are good cars. For the money they were new, they're garbage. If this was a Toyota, it would still drive like a new car with that mileage on it. And the same goes with a Mercedes or a BMW, or even a Volkswagen. But Land Rovers, oh no. So I've got two pumps running now. I've got one at the back, the original pump, which is supplying nothing because it's compressor. The compressor components failed, but the motor runs. All the air is being supplied by the BMW pump at the front. By the way, that air compressor I purchased second hand on eBay for, I think, £60 I paid for it, because I'd had enough. There's no way I'm paying £400 for a Land Rover component. Still charging up yet. But once it gets to pressure, it'll cut off, and that cut off will be initialised by the Land Rover's own system. Anyway, hope this helps somebody, and we'll come back to this later, because now I have a door catch to do on it. Another piece of garbage.